Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Today we are going to continue talking about the wall and how this fight between the Democrats and the Republicans could very well cause, an internal revolution in America, as we've talked about. Okay, first of all, let's back up and give you a little bit of the updates. And now I'm making this broadcast at 10:22 a.m., 1/1 of 2019. So welcome to a new year. It's been a whole year since we've talked. So anyway, headline from USA Today: Donald Trump rejects Democratic funding plan, wishes Happy New Year to haters. From New York Times: Democrats try to box in Trump with plan to end government shutdown without wall funding. The Daily Beast: shutdown latest insult for already miserable federal workforce. Then a Trump from @RealDonaldTrump says, I'm in the Oval Office. Democrats, come back from vacation now and give us the votes necessary for border wall security, including the wall. You voted yes in 2006 and 2013. One more yes, but with me in office, I'll get it built and fast. From Twitter, also from Mark Meadows: Nancy Pelosi's newest funding proposal doesn't represent any serious attempt to secure our border or find compromise. A $1.3 billion Democrat wish list that includes zero money for a border barrier is a non-starter and will not be a legitimate answer to this impasse. All right, now let's go to some updated information, and then we're going to talk about some very important Bible prophecy. Now, I know that a lot of you listening don't like Bible prophecy, but in this case, you're going to want to hear this. You're going to want to hear this. We'll get to that in just a second. All right, now, the new updated information concerning the update. Refresher here first. You recall that Terry Bennett was told that lawlessness and chaos was shown to him about America and civil unrest, and he was told that when the checks from our government stop coming to the people, the chaos will ensue. When the checks, meaning welfare, from our government stop coming to the people, the internal revolution will start. That's the way I interpret that. Then Shane Warren was told the devaluing of the dollar will cause major rioting in the streets, looting with signs saying, I want my entitlements. Now, is devaluing of the dollar and checks being cut off from the government going to the people, the welfare, is that sort of the same thing? It sort of is, isn't it? Then Dumitru Duduman told me, now this is not a thus saith the Lord, but Dumitru told me that it was his opinion that the internal revolution would be started by something like them cutting off welfare to the people. So now we have two thus saith the Lords that are very similar, probably confirming each other, and then the opinion of Dumitru Duduman. Now, here's the new information. Headline: Food stamp funding runs out in February, government shutdown. This comes to us from halturner.com, dated Friday, 28 December 2018. With portions of the U.S. government shut down over budget issues between the Democrats and President Trump, approximately 95%. Oh, really that much? That's not what they've been telling us. Approximately 95% of all federal workers involved, listen to this, with the food stamp program have been furloughed. Did you hear that? Approximately 95% of all federal workers involved with the food stamp program have been furloughed. You're not hearing that one on the news, are you? As the government shutdown drags into its fifth day, nearly all employees in the office overseeing federal food stamps have been cut. Say it again. As the government shutdown drags on, nearly all employees in the office overseeing federal food stamps have been cut. What does that sound like to you? Sound to me like we're about to see food stamps. We're about to see the checks from the government stop, just like Terry Bennett was told back in 2010, just like Shane Warren told us in 2012 in his DVD. And Dumitru told me back in 1988. So while Dimitri's is not thus saith the Lord, I think that has high credibility, don't you? So can we say we have in the mouth of two witnesses? I think we can. Maybe 2.5 witnesses. All right, let's go on. As of Wednesday morning, The remaining staff dwindled down to a mere 5%. We have never seen food stamps benefits cut off nationwide before. So we actually don't know any frame of reference for what could happen. Well, hold on. The prophecy students do. You see, again, another advantage for knowing Bible prophecy. You know what is coming. You know what to be watching for. You know what to throw away, and you know what to listen to. This we listen to. Could we see civil unrest and rioting, he says? When people are hungry, they get desperate pretty quickly. And history has shown that when people don't know where the next meal is going to come from, they get quite violent. Well, I think he's right. He goes on to say, and even without government shutdown, President Trump was planning to knock millions of people off of the food stamp program anyway by tightening work requirements. If Congress won't make more food stamp recipients work for their benefits, the Trump administration will. The U.S. Department of Agriculture unveiled a proposed rule Thursday that would expand work requirements in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, as the food program is formally known. The proposal comes on the same day as President Donald Trump plans to sign a farm bill that had a similar provision that was eventually eliminated. So, one way or another, a lot of people are soon going to lose their benefits, he says. Meanwhile, federal workers continue to freak out over this government shutdown. The following comes from a New York Times article entitled, "Federal Workers, Some in, quote, Panic Mode, Share Shutdown Fears on Social Media." A Department of Transportation worker in Missouri picked up cashier shifts at Barnes & Noble. A paralegal for the Justice Department in Texas stopped using her, quote, gas-guzzling pickup truck and pulled her motorcycle out of storage. An air traffic controller in California is avoiding any purchases that are vital. Point is, it doesn't look like we have too long until we could see the internal revolution start. Let's go on. So he says, what's next? Will we soon discover that some governmental workers have been forced to buy generic brands at the grocery store due to this never-ending horror of a government shutdown? But seriously, the longer the shutdown lasts, the more that people are going to complain. That's an understatement. And right now, Donald Trump does not appear to have any intention of giving in. When reporters asked him how long he is willing to wait, Trump responded, whatever it takes. Funding for 9 federal departments lapsed Saturday amid a mass over whether to fund the president's proposed border wall, as congressional leaders and the White House appear to make little progress toward a deal. The shutdown could last past January 3rd, when Democrats take control of the House. Well, brothers and sisters, he's saying come February 1, all of the government benefits will be shut down if they haven't got this shutdown stopped. Let's go on. Of course, Chuck Schumer has drawn a line in the sand and has pledged that he will never allow Trump to have funding for a border wall. And so we have a political game of chicken playing out right in front of our eyes. Now, the point is, it doesn't look like the Democrats are going to give him a wall, and he is saying, I'm going to keep the government shut down until they do. Well, you see, the Democrats win both ways, because if they keep the government shut down, that means that we get an internal revolution. That means we get the Russians attacking and defeating us, and that pulls the Christian nation down, allows them to bring up their world government and to set Antichrist at the head. And now not every Democrat knows and understands that goal, but rest assured the people at the top absolutely do. And then, of course, if the Democrats don't get the wall, then that allows more of the godless people to come into our nation and pollute and to dilute more of the Christian nation. So that kills the nation. So either way, the Democrats win. The only way the Democrats lose is if they give in and get the wall. So they aren't going to give in. They aren't going to give it. They have no downside unless they give him the wall. Now, let's go to Bible prophecy, and I'm going to tell you where I'm heading with this, and tell you why. Again, I know that a lot of people, and I can tell because when I start talking Bible prophecy, people turn the channel. That's a mistake. as we go forward with this whole world that we're living in, Bible prophecy is going to become more and more and more popular. God told me, I don't know, probably 18 years ago, in the night that day was going to arrive, that Bible prophecy, not just prophecy, Bible prophecy, would be the number one topic on the globe. All people, nations, and languages will want to know about Bible prophecy. Right now, a lot of Christians, because they don't understand it, they think they don't have to worry about this. They're going to go into pre-trib rapture for whatever reason. And for whatever reason, I can just tell you, when I start talking about Bible prophecy, fewer people listen to the radio program. Big, huge mistake. Now, let me explain to you where we're going to go with this. This headline says, Turkey aiming to head a global Islamic union governed by Sharia. That headline is shocking. That is straight out of Bible prophecy. That is very, very important. Let me explain. I'll read it again. Turkey aiming to head a global Islamic union governed by Sharia. If you don't understand Daniel 7, then that just says, okay, well, that's interesting. But if you understand Daniel chapter 7, you shake because that's big. Here's why. Now, I got to do a little Bible teaching here, so stay with me. I'm going to keep it short and to the point. I'm going to I'm in the process of memorizing this chapter. And in the process of memorizing it, I've seen some additional deeper things. I haven't got any revelations on Daniel yet, but I believe God is going to bring them at some point, at the right point. Anyway, so let's go on to this. Daniel chapter 7. And that headline, I'm about to show you that in Scripture. Important. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream, told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, In my vision by night, and behold, 4 winds of heaven strove upon the great sea. Here it is. 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. The first was like the English lion and had American eagle wings. So I'm going to kind of interpret it that way. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. Now, I used to think that meant that America falls. Yes, she does, but that's not what it's saying. Matter of fact, it's not saying at this point anything good for the English lion. It is simply referring and is trying to identify the nation that is the eagle. And the eagle's wings, well, what nation has the eagle as its symbol? America. It's simply saying that America comes out of England. That's all it's saying. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon a feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. It's simply saying that America comes from England, and she is given a man's heart. Now, when it says a man's heart, it's saying that America is given a heart. America is a nation of love and kindness and thought. Even people that are not Christians are still very kind when they live in America. Verse 5, And I beheld another beast, a second, like a bear. That's the Russian bear. And it raised up itself on one side, meaning that when Russia would rise up, one side of Russia is going to be stronger and more prosperous economically and militarily than the other side, and that is true. Eastern Russia is gulags and ice and snow. Western Russia has Moscow and the population and the strength. And it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it, and they said thus unto it. Now, what are those 3 ribs? Those are 3 nations, and I'll get into that later. If I get into that, that'll get us off topic. But I believe I know who the 3 ribs are, but we'll get another time. And thus said, Arise and devour much flesh. Now, I have to understand, this is not talking about the past. This is talking about the future. So it's not talking about all of the people in World War I, World War II that Russia killed, and there are millions. This, my brothers and sisters, is talking about the future. This is saying that the Russian bear will arise and kill a lot of people, and I think it's yet to come. Verse 6. Now, here's the point. I say all of that to get to this. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and the beast had also 4 heads. These 4 words, these next 4 words explain that whole topic that I just read from the newspaper. Listen carefully, and I'm going to explain all this in just a second. Here it is. And dominion, hear that word, dominion, was given to it. Now let's back up. Who's the leopard? It's easy to find out. All you got to do is Google, where do leopards live? Print the map. Google, where do Muslims live? Print the map. Overlay the maps, and you'll find that the leopards live where the Muslims live. Where the Muslims live pretty much is where the leopards live. And it is shocking how close the lines match. Then you look at how the leopard lives, fights, eats, where they live, how they have their children, and you line that up with the Muslims, it lines up step by step, inch by inch, everything they do. In my mind, there's no question the leopard is speaking of Muslims. Now, it goes on to say, and dominion was given to this leopard. It says, 4 wings of a fowl, that means 4 nations. The beast had also 4 heads. That means each nation has a ruler. So this is a conglomerate of 4 nations. Each nation has its own ruler, but those nations are linked together to make one beast. And what is the link that links them together? Being a Muslim, it's the God of Allah. It's the book of the Quran, linking them together. Now, if I get on to what 4 nations those are, then it's going to be a little bit more. I want to do that where I can do that more in depth. But it's basically the nations surrounding Israel, probably Turkey, Syria, Egypt, and Libya. So those 4 nations are going to be linking together. Now, listen to the article, because I'm going to show you where this is in the process of happening right now in the article. The article says, this is Turkey aiming to head a global Islamic union governed by Sharia. Turkey's Strategic Research Center for Defenders of Justice planning to organize an international Islamic Union Congress every year until 2023 to address the Islamic Confederate State. It aims to establish across the Muslim world. This comes to us December 22 of 2018. Turkey appears to be accelerating its endeavor to establish an Ottoman-style Islamic government encompassing several Muslim nations. Let me read that again. No, let me read. This is straight out of the Bible, if you understand what it's saying. Okay, another like a leopard, 4 nations, each nation having a head, and dominion. Now, that word dominion means that they are given rulership. Now, right now, pretty much there's, even though a lot of the Arabs have oil and they have a lot of money, right now they really don't have any rulership. They don't have dominion. But if you go back into Genesis 28 and back into Esau and Isaac and all of that stuff, you'll find that same word dominion. That's probably a topic for another day. I talk about this in my oil DVDs. But anyway, that word dominion is key. Right now, I don't think that there is a leopard. I don't think that there is a Muslim nation that has dominion, meaning I do not think that verse 6, the leopard with 4 wings of a fowl and 4 heads, I do not think the leopard has fully formed. I do not think that there is a conglomerate of 4 nations that are Muslim in the Middle East, each one of them having a head, that have formed themselves into one beast, one group, one conglomerate, or one caliphate, as they want to call themselves, and they have dominion. I do not think that has come to power yet. However, let's go back to the article. What does it say? Turkey aiming to head a global Islamic union. I'm reading it again. Turkey aiming to head a global Islamic union governed by Sharia. Brothers and sisters, that is Bible prophecy. Right there in the newspaper headlines, if you understand Bible prophecy. See, when we understand Bible prophecy, brothers and sisters, we have an advantage. We see things that the person wrote this article, they don't understand. They know they're trying to form a caliphate. They know they're trying to form a cooperation, a group of nations that are cooperating based upon Sharia. Well, Sharia is the beast, or Sharia, i.e. Islamic, i.e. the Quran, Allah, all of that. That is the beast. All of these four nations are all Islamic. They're all Muslim, you see. And they want to conglomerate. They want to group. They want to form a union. Read it again. Turkey aiming to head a global, listen to these words. This is so important. Turkey aiming to head a global Islamic union governed by Sharia. Now, why is that important? Let me go on to the next verse. And after this, meaning after the lion, or English lion, the American eagle's wings, and the Russian bear, and the Islamic leopard have been formed, is what it's saying. After this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast. Now we know from Daniel chapter 2, the fourth and final world kingdom is when the Antichrist rises. Behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth, means the Roman Empire, and it devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. Now, when it says devoured, it means that this fourth world government takes down all of the other nations. It grinds them up, it chews them up, and it forms a world government. It doesn't leave any traces. Listen to what it says. I devoured, that means I destroyed, and I break in pieces. In other words, they no longer have borders. They no longer have names. He devours, he breaks in pieces, and he stamps, he stops all of the other nations. There's not going to be a France or a Germany, none of that. He's going to remove all of those names, all of those borders. It's all going to be one government, one currency, one religion, all under him. There won't be an America or a Germany or a France. They will remove those names. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the root, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. In other words, this is world government. It is not sovereign nations grouping together. You see, the leopard is sovereign nations grouping together. This is saying that there's not any sovereign nations. They remove the nation names. Diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and had 10 horns. What they do is group the 7 global regions, or a little bit back. They group the 7 continents and divide them into 10 global regions. And of course, Revelation 13 says that each region has a ruler. Then once they get this 7 continents divided into 10 global regions, each one having a ruler, then verse 8 kicks in. Understand that we will not see the Antichrist before the world government is formed. That's what this next verse is about to tell you. I'll say it again. We will not see the Antichrist until the world government is formed. Listen carefully to what it says. I considered the horns. Now, horn is a leader. And I beheld there came up among them another little horn. So he's saying, I saw the 10 global regions. I saw the 10 global leaders. And behold, there came up among them another little horn. That came up among the global leaders, another global regional leader, from before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. So once the world government is formed, then we see among the 10 global regions, one of those rulers, there'll be another one come up among them, and he will defeat 3 of the other ones. And it says, and behold, in this horn, meaning in this leader, this global regional leader, in this leader were the eyes of a man. So he's saying, this is not a spirit. This is a physical flesh and blood man. This is your Antichrist. And in the mouth speaking great things. Well, those words, a mouth speaking great things, is straight out of Revelation 13. Where he says, a mouth speaking great things, and power is given him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth, and he blasphemed God, the tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And he causeth all of that sort of stuff. All right, so what it's saying here, brothers and sisters, is that the next thing, see, we have America, we have England, we have the bear, but we do not have the leopard yet. When we see the leopard forming, and that's what this article is saying, the leopard is in the process of being formed. This is big, big, big. Now, once the leopard is in place, then we can have world government. I'd have to say, really and truly, what this is saying is we can't have a world government yet. We can't. We have to have the Islamic leopard in place before we can have the fourth world government, or the fourth of the beasts, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and had great iron teeth, and he devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet. Okay, before that can happen, we have to see this. Let me read this headline again. Let this headline burn into your memory. This is Bible prophecy in action. Then I'll read part of the article. Turkey aiming to head a global Islamic Union governed by Sharia. That's huge. It goes on to say one such effort was apparent in early November at the Second International Islamic Union Congress. You hearing those words? Union. At this November event, other prominent supporters promoted the creation of a common Muslim economic market. Okay, brothers, this is you bind together economically and you're bound. So I'm saying that this leopard is just about to rise. I've been saying for, 7 or 8 years that I know of, that the leopard is not there yet. We can't have world government yet. This is true. Okay, Islamic lands owned by some 60, they're saying that they're going to 60 Islamic countries inhabited by 1.6 billion Muslims. On 19 million, it goes to give all of the oil reserves of the production, the natural gas reserves, and all other wealth. Then it says, is there anyone whose power would be enough to defeat the one who relies on Allah? So there again, the beast is Allah. The beast is Muslim. Allah, the Quran, that's the beast. And now they're talking about they're trying to unite 60 Islamic countries, but the Bible says it will be 4. Now, that does not necessarily mean that the 60 countries can't all bind together as 4, but the Bible says it will be 4. Now, in other words, I'm not saying some 56 of them are thrown away. The 56, it could be 60 countries all linked together. But what it's saying is, finally, we are seeing the Muslims form a union. This is what they're saying, an international union of Muslims, Muslim scholars. They're working together. Let me go on with the article. Turkey is facing plots by those who don't like to see this nation rising by the West. They would have succeeded in their plots but for Allah's support of President Erdogan and his brothers. But they say Allah will help Erdogan to emerge victorious as long as true Muslims are standing beside him. So here we go, brothers. Let me read this. I got to read this too. It goes down. In addition, a model constitution was drafted. Are you hearing that? A model constitution was drafted, according to which the capital of the Islamic Federation is Istanbul. There you go. That's Turkey. Sovereignty belongs to Sharia law, and 4 of the member states, mainly Albania, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Kosovo, and Macedonia, are expected to be European Muslim-majority countries. So they are talking about 4 specific countries being kind of the head of this thing. The first Congress also concluded that each Islamic country should create a Ministry of Islamic Union within its Council of Ministers. Another thing that I think it's important to mention here, it says next year, participants will discuss, quote, defense industry cooperation. In 2020, they aim to determine a common defense system. In 2021, they will focus on a joint foreign policy. In 2022, the agenda is a joint justice system. 2023, the plan is to determine common assistance and security for the Islamic Union. Ironically, 2023 will be the centennial of the establishment of the Turkish Republic in 1923. So there you have it, brothers and sisters. Right there before us, we are seeing the leopard forming. Time's run out. When it comes time for your giving, would you remember Prophecy Club? Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your gifts of support. God bless. At WatchProphecyClub.com, you can have instant access to over 200 titles on a recurring monthly subscription of $20 or yearly for $200 at WatchProphecyClub.com. That's $6,000 worth of information at WatchProphecyClub.com. That's WatchProphecyClub.com. What a deal.